This Icon podcast is hosted and sponsored by Sphere Rocket Virtual Assistants, a leading provider for your virtual assistants and outsourcing needs. Owned by one of the top-ranking EXP agents, Justin Nelson. Sphere Rocket VA provides a one-stop virtual staffing solution for business owners, and we specialize in helping business owners grow their business by leveraging through virtual assistants. Trusted by the top names in the real estate industry like Kyle Whistle, Andrew Franklin, John Kitchens, and many more. Get ready to up your success and we'll help you achieve your business goals. Book your free consultation at sphererocketva.com and find out how we can make your life easier.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Icon Podcast. My name is Gianna, and thanks to our sponsors over at Sphere Rocket VA, we have the awesome opportunity to talk to James today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, we're super excited to get to know you. So let's start at the beginning. James, who are you? Where are you from? What market are you in now? How'd you wind up a real estate agent?
So I am I was born in Los Angeles, California. When my parents retired, we moved to Louisiana, small town. It's called Dry Prong. And I like to explain it as it's the only parish in the state that doesn't have a red light. So we have a caution light, but we don't have anything else. So grew up there, then made my way down to Baton Rouge, where I eventually went to LSU. Left there, came to Dallas, and I got into real estate in 2016. First in Louisiana, and then I followed up a couple of months later for Texas market. And other than that, I've been hitting the ground running ever since.
Absolutely. So, EXP obviously offers that dual state license. So way back then, is that your first brokerage? Was EXP something you stumbled upon because of that, or were you introduced to EXP later?
No, actually, my first brokerage was Remax. So whenever I first got into it, my best friend, he has a cousin that is in Canada. And so whenever I reached out to him and I was like, hey, I'm thinking about getting into real estate. And he's like, this is where you're going. And he set up the meeting with the broker at the time. And next thing you know, I'm in an office and they're like, I don't know who you know or, where they're from, but they said that you need to be here. So it unfortunately, I wasn't a fit, at the time, or I felt like I needed to just grow myself and look at other opportunities. So I eventually did that.
Absolutely. So when you did come over to EXP, what are some of the things that you really liked? Like what drew you here, and then what makes you stay? What are some other things that maybe you found out once you got onboarded or trained a little bit that really make you say, man, I never want to leave EXP?
Just being able to be myself and do what I want. So it's like I just with my brand, my personal brand, and how I see myself as a person and incorporating, my lifestyle with real estate, I felt like this was going to be a good fit for me because it just allows me to just not only, I'm not going to try and fit this mold of what everybody, expects from, everyone else as a real estate agent. So, just being myself, and I have the freedom to do that. And, it's make money while doing it too.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. Everybody's, they're a real estate agent, but they're a businessman or woman first. So it's been cool to hear these stories. And James, with the high production, there's a lot going on, lots of sales. You're always busy. So what do you do in your free time? I can tell you maybe even have a side hustle in music from your background. But how do you recharge? What's your go-to?
Music is obviously it's a couple of things hanging up back there, but music has always been my first and my first love, when career-wise. And so before I got into real estate, I became a DJ. I started off as being a DJ at LSU just because, all right, this is how you can meet people, of course, meet girls and, get invited to all the cool parties. But
absolutely.
Eventually turned into a business. And I learned pretty quick, I like doing this and I'm doing really well. And so then, my platform started to grow. I was the first DJ for LSU athletics at the time, and where I was doing all of the show or all of the games for basketball, football, and then that eventually started to, branch over into, the clubs, the bars, private events, court, you name it, I was doing it. And then that also eventually ran into radio. So, and then radio got into the music industry, and then the rest is history. So
in background, I used to work
Yeah.
for iHeart as well. I was a DJ, so I wasn't like a DJ like cool like mixing tracks at parties, but I worked for some country stations, and it's really fun. So that's really cool. I had noticed those, I recognized those, and I was like, not everybody has those.
Not everybody's got those.
That's pretty cool, James. And
Yeah.
so, do you still get to turn to music in your free time to recharge, or how do you make sure that you're not burning yourself out?
I balance. I have an incredible fiance that makes sure that I have to take time to myself and focus on my mental and physical state. But as far as with balance, or one thing that I learned in music and entertainment, which you should know also, is that you face faith and you face demons a lot of the time. So you have to figure out that balance, and that's something that I try and do my best nowadays, rather than whenever I was first beginning.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Well, James, I'm glad you have that support and those passions, and they're great ways to get recharged. And I'm sure, coming from the music background of myself, I know you are killing it now, making a lot more money in the real estate game. Still something you can be passionate about. So that's awesome. So let's talk more about the real estate game, right? Let's talk Icon, obviously, because you're on the Icon podcast. So as far as your market goes out there in Texas, about how many houses do you have to sell, I guess, to cap out there? Because it's 20 transactions after, but as far as market pricing goes, how many do you have to sell in your area to hit your cap?
I would say the volume that I did that got me to 100% was right around 3.5 million, I believe. And then, all in all for last year, I think it was like 6.5, 7 million that got me to the Icon. So, and of course, the market was, substantially a lot higher than normal. So I did hit those goals coming into, my first year pretty quick. So I was very shocked at, some of the numbers that I was doing.
Absolutely. And James, it's more than just production.
Yeah.
Right? Those numbers can come pretty fast if you just got your nose to the grindstone, you're talking to people, making relationships, and these houses are basically selling themselves at that point if you got the right personality. And a lot of icons do. They've got that work ethic and that personality, and it just mixes perfectly for them. But to be an icon, you are vetted, which means you also have a cultural commitment. So whether it's vetting other icons, it's teaching, mentoring, coaching in EXP world, what avenue did you take to do your cultural commitment part?
I decided on the panel.
Okay.
So I'll be starting. It books up pretty quick, so it's I'm going to be pretty busy for the month of July. We're getting that all knocked out. Of course, the summit is coming next week, so definitely looking forward to being there. And even as far as with mentorship, I'm always happy to help other people too, because this is something that you just cannot do on your own. In this business, we're very competitive, but you still need to have that backbone and that support from other people that have been there. So now that I've been, fortunate to reach the Icon level, I want to make sure that I'm, doing my part with helping other people out too.
Absolutely. And James, we got to touch base as shareholders. It sounds like we've got a lot of the same
For
background.
sure.
So I would
Absolutely.
love to just kind of chat it up with you and see, obviously who else we know in the industry and all the fun things.
Yeah.
So James, let's put you in a bit of a scenario here.
Okay.
Say I'm a new real estate agent and I'm coming to you. I'm on James' team. I'm with EXP, whatever. I'm in your downline. Maybe you're my sponsor. Any situation for us to have this conversation where I'm like, James, this is really cool. I haven't even written an offer letter yet. I don't really know what's going on. But as far as goals go, I think I want an Icon. So let's have this come to Jesus talk. Do we work this backwards? How do we set goals for this? Is it even possible for a rookie? Let's have this chat.
I think my first question would be is what is your why? Why do you want to do this? What's your purpose? That was, something that I asked myself. Whenever I first came in to EXP, my mentor is Sean Corbett. I told him right out the gate is I want to hit icon. And we sat there and we went over everything that you have to do. Of course, you have to hit you have to cap, and then you got to get the 20 transactions after that. And just asked me, do you think that you can do this? And so I said, absolutely, not really knowing if I could actually do it. But, it's at figuring out those goals, setting a timeline. Definitely, you have to set a schedule for yourself. You have to find a really great system, support team, and seeing what I can do to provide value to you as a new agent in order for you to meet that goal. And if there's something that needs to be changed, then, let's sit down, let's talk about it and figure out what needs to be changed in order for you to get back on track.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I love that. You gotta have your why, because it is a lot of work. It's a lot of relationships. It's when you're trying to hustle that hard, especially as a rookie, you have to build that pipeline, and that's going to be a 24/7 job. That work-life balance isn't going to exist too much in that first year. And it's important to also, not burn yourself out. You got to lean onto your mentors and the people around you. But if you want it, and it's a good reason why you want it, it's achievable.
Yeah, I really do believe that because even with last year, I had a lot of obstacles that I was faced with. Mm-hmm. And through all of that, I knew what my goal was. I knew what my purpose for why I was doing this and why I wanted to reach that. Mm-hmm. And my biggest thing is my family. So that was one of my main things, is that, I want to reach this goal, because not only have I never done it before, but before I actually came over to EXP, most of my time as a realtor in Texas and Louisiana, I was on tour. So I was not as tangible as I am now. And I knew at some point, in order for me to reach a higher level, I had to get off of the roads, to get off a tour, and, put that all behind me. So shout out to COVID for kind of helping me make that decision.
Said you're looking for a sign, James. Here it is.
There it is. And it's like, it just happened. So, and from then on, I just hit the ground running.
Absolutely. Well, James, I'm coming up on my last question here, and that would be for somebody that's checking out EXP, right? They see the grass is greener. They see the stock options, rev share, collaboration, just the awesome people that are over here, the big names. And they're also hearing the things like, don't go over there. EXP is a cult. It's a pyramid scheme. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. So what would you have to say to somebody watching right now that may be in that scenario?
I used to kind of feel like I was that type of person that was like, yeah, you have certain, you have different personalities. And so there's some that are a little bit aggressive and pushy. But for me, if you want to join it, like have an open mind, talk to somebody that you feel like you can relate to, and that's going to give you the straight facts, the pros and the cons. That's what, I'm fortunate for. That's how I was told. Like, this is what, we have. You have the rev share, you have the stock options, you have, the Icon Award, and then of course you have the splits and all of this stuff. So I looked at everything for what it was, and I felt like, why am I paying for a piece of paper that I'm never going to use at a different brokerage? Like, it just doesn't make any sense for me to be having all of these extra fees whenever I'm not doing anything with it. I barely go into office. Most of us work from home or from our vehicle or anywhere in the world. So, it was like, it was a no-brainer for me. And even with that switch, it just felt like the right thing, because I was already used to, my office is the world. So like, just with being on tour and, being all over the place, I was always working from, a show or, the tour buses, anything. Right. But now that it's like, who needs an office? Like, I don't. Like, I barely even, need a house half the time. But, it is what it is. But, look at all of that stuff. And if it's a good fit for you, then yeah. And figuring out what your goals after real estate are too. That's something that I have to consider because, I mean, to be honest, I do not want to open doors for the rest of my entire life. I'm not going to do it. I want to get to a point to where I'm, financially comfortable for myself and my family. And then I can be able to supply value to other agents to where they can get to that next level too. Absolutely.
James, that's incredible. I love everything you've said today. Super inspirational, optimistic, and there's passion to be found in your drive, and I love it. And is there anything that you would like to leave the listeners with as we wrap it up today?
Yeah, 4 words. Don't ever accept failure. Those are 4 words that I live by. And quick story scenario behind that is, as whenever professional DJ, the name is DJ Def, DEAF. And the way that I came up with that name is whenever I was in college, I became homeless. I didn't have anywhere to go. I had the opportunity to, my parents just come home. And I opted out to say, you know what, I'm gonna go stay in this Motel 6 on Segan Lane in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And then I finally got my break. Music took me, all over the world. I've been fortunate to, work with the Harlem Globetrotters at one point. And, it really opened up my horizon. But the story behind all of those 4 words is don't ever accept failure. I've been to the lowest part of my life where I felt like I had absolutely nothing. But that mantra for me is something that it's more than just a name as a DJ. It's something that anyone that can relate to. We all have failures. Just because you fail, you don't have to accept that as your last. So you just have to keep going and keep pushing. And just know that you have people that are genuinely going to have your back, just the same way that I did. And even when I reached Icon this past year, like I said, it was one of my hardest years, that physically and mentally, because, just about 2 months ago, my father passed away. And so the back and forth of going back to Louisiana, making sure that he was taken care of while also trying to take care of clients. But I knew that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And so I took that with, I held my head up high and kept pushing. And right before he passed away, he found out that I reached Icon. So that's something that's always going to be incredibly grateful for, to know that, that moment I had that. And, I'm just grateful to be a part of, this opportunity.
Absolutely. James, I'm thank you for your time. I'm just blown away. You're so cool. I cannot wait to touch base with you at Shareholders next week, because there's so much to talk about. Maybe we'll do a little bit of a 5-10 minute live podcast spinoff while we're there, because we'll have a videographer team, and I think it would be awesome. Your story is incredible, and just thank you for sharing. And I look forward to keeping up with all your endeavors.
Absolutely. You too. Thank you guys for having me.
Of course, James, and we'll be talking to you real soon at Shareholders, and you let me know if you need anything in the meantime.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye.
This Icon podcast is hosted and sponsored by Sphere Rocket Virtual Assistants, a leading provider for your virtual assistants and outsourcing needs. Owned by one of the top-ranking EXP agents, Justin Nelson. Sphere Rocket VA provides a one-stop virtual staffing solution for business owners, and we specialize in helping business owners grow their business by leveraging through virtual assistants. Trusted by the top names in the real estate industry like Kyle Whistle, Andrew Franklin, John Kitchens, and many more. Get ready to up your success, and we'll help you achieve your business goals. Book your free consultation at SphereRocketVA.com and find out how we can make your life easier.